Hi, Yaro Kubrin here, Keller Williams Realty, and I wanted to talk to you about some of the dynamics that I find my clients doing and how I think that there's room for improvement in the real estate process. So one of the things that I notice is when a lot of my clients get interested in a property, they want to know more information about that property, and that's a great thing. It shows that they're interested enough to want to understand more about that house or more about that parcel. And there is a finite amount of information that can actually be generated without going into inspections and going down to the county and ordering home inspection, pest inspection, going down to PRMD. And so what I find often is that buyers want to do all of their due diligence before they write an offer. They want to understand as much as they can before they get ready to submit that offer. And we often come to a point where the next step isn't to find out more information about that property. The next step is to write an offer and secure that property so that it can't be sold to anybody else. And so I get often to a point with my buyers where they want to understand more about a property and they think that they need to understand that information before they write an offer. And my conversation with them often goes something like this. Once you write an offer and your offer is accepted, you will have 2.5 weeks to generate and create any information that you need to or want to before moving forward in the purchase of this property. However, if we don't write an offer, you could spend the next period of days or weeks creating information about this property, but you will not have prevented that seller from selling it to someone else. And I've seen this happen before, where I have a client who's doing their research and they're all getting very familiar with that property, only to find out that once they're ready to write an offer, someone else has written an offer and it went into escrow 2 days before. So there's an important sequence, and you'll hear me talk about the real estate recipe. And in my opinion, the most important sequence when approaching a property purchase is a small amount of research, an offer, an acceptance by the seller, and then an opening of escrow where the due diligence period can begin, where we create every piece of information that my client would want to know before moving forward with the purchase. And it's important to sequence it that way for a couple reasons. First of all, creating information on a property can cost time and money. And if you do that before you have an agreement from the seller, you may have spent precious resources becoming knowledgeable without really positioning yourself to purchase a property. The second reason is because once you have an accepted offer from a seller, the seller has about 5 days to provide the buyer with everything that they know about the property. They give their disclosures. And the reason why that's important to a buyer is a seller may tell you something about their property that causes you to do research in a certain direction or on a certain topic. So having the seller's disclosures before the buyer starts scrambling to find out everything that they can about a property, I think is an important prerequisite. It makes the process a lot more focused and a lot more efficient. But again, back to the most important reason why we do our due diligence after we have an accepted offer. Say a seller is trying to sell something for $100 and you want to buy it for $80. Well, if you spend all of your time and effort creating all this information about a property before you've come to agreement about what the price and terms are going to be, well, it's all a moot point if you can't agree on the price and you can't agree on the terms. And so I tell my buyers, and I tell them time and time again, and that's why I'm making this video, is that if you find a property where you resonate with it, or it fulfills most of the checklists or criteria that you're looking for in this property purchase, write an offer. Make sure that there's agreement on the part of the buyer and seller, and that you have locked the property up. I'm doing that cheesy quotation thing. Locking the property up means that once a seller has accepted a buyer's offer, that seller can't turn around and sell it to another buyer. Now that's important to understand, because even if another buyer comes and offers more money, once that seller has accepted my buyer's offer, that seller is locked in for a certain period of time. So it's important to secure the property and prevent anybody else from purchasing it before we start becoming experts in that property, okay? And so my clients will often say, well, how do I know what to offer, Yaro? Because I don't know this about the property, or I don't know that about the property, or I don't know when the roof was installed. I don't know when the concrete was poured in the front driveway. How do I know what offer number to make? So the answer to that is I will often go pull similar homes in a similar location that are similar size to come up with an opinion about where the market is at in terms of value. And then what I tell my clients is that your initial offer should be based upon what you know about the property, not what you don't know about the property. And so there often is an informal conversation after you're in escrow based upon what you found out during your due diligence. And sometimes that number gets adjusted. Sometimes the informal conversation goes something along the lines of, look, Mr. Seller, now that we've found out this, this, and this about the property, our opinion about what we're willing to pay has changed. And so potentially that property price gets adjusted based on that conversation. Now the seller's not required to adjust the price, and so there's a bit of a posturing, and the buyer can always walk away from the transaction, or the seller may in fact yield or agree to a lower price based on those findings. But the thing to understand is that when you write an initial offer, you're not agreeing to purchase the property at that price no matter what. You're agreeing to engage in an escrow where you then create the rest of the information that you would need to be able to evaluate whether you do want to move forward purchasing the property at that price, or whether we open up a conversation about a price adjustment, or maybe you find out stuff about the property that's so terrible that you just walk away and we move on to the next opportunity. But I often encourage my clients to write offers, and I want to make the distinction. Writing an offer is not the same as a decision to make a purchase. Writing an offer is only a decision to see what terms the seller might agree to and to lock it up, to prevent somebody else from swooping in and purchasing it while we explore our options and increase our understanding of the condition of that property.